Alright, so the first part of the video is going to be me going over my Minecraft settings, my Petra settings, and my Feather client settings. So let's start with Minecraft settings. These are all the Optifine settings. I use graphics fast, smooth lighting off, this all the way turned down left. GUI scale large because I like having a large inventory. Brightness bright, obviously. Dynamic lights off. I don't have shaders, details. I have these settings. One thing that is nice to have is putting your trees on smart, because if you put them on default while having fast graphics on, you can't look through the leaves. And by turning this to smart or fancy, doesn't really matter. I like them on fast because it saves some FPS. You can look through them, which is just nice to have overall. Other than that, entity shadows is the only other thing that's pretty important here. This basically what this does is right now there's no entity shadow and there's no shadow below me, but if I turn this on, you can see the circle below me, and there's also a circle below the item right there. When there's a lot of items on the floor, this like tanks FPS, so I advise just turning that off because it doesn't even look that good. Animations, the only thing I turn off here is explosion animated. What this does is when you're playing Golem or Arcanist, it doesn't show all the white particles like the TNT-like particles, so it just like makes it way cleaner, and your visibility is gonna be way better. Render this in 6. Personally, I like to keep this at 6. You can turn it to 8. Doesn't really matter if you're playing on like the Seal laptop. You can always turn it down to 2. But I like it on 6. View bobbing and dynamic overview is literally just personal preference. You'll see me playing with them on or off. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. Right now, I like to have them both off because I feel like I just play better. FBOs, I turn this on. I don't know why, but it just like it increased my FPS by a shit ton. So I advise keeping that on. I have this off. Quality, you can just copy this. I don't really have anything to say for this. Performance, this is pretty important. These are all pretty important, I think. You have to turn smooth FPS off because this, for whatever reason, tanks FPS. Like, you really want to have this disabled. This as well. Fast render on, fast math on. Chunk updates, I think it's on by default. I'm not sure. Dynamic updates, well, these four you just keep on. Doesn't really matter. I mean, this kind of matter. I mean, they all matter, but you should just copy them one to one for best performance. And other, this, yeah, this doesn't matter. This is just alright, then I'll go over my Petra settings real quick. Uh, um, I don't know, dude. Just copy these one by one. This actually increases FPS by a bit as well. The only thing it says, does may cause stuff with animation to feel choppy. It really doesn't. The only thing it does, if you look here, it like, when you pick it up, it looks like it's like 10 FPS while picking up the item, like the little animation it does. It really doesn't matter all that much, and it saves a lot of FPS, so I just turn that on. Miscellaneous, whatever, just pause it if you have to. I have my FPS limit set to 500. Uh, I don't know. I just like it at 500. Remove map bobbing, whatever. You can just like pause the video and copy this if you want. These don't matter that much. One thing I do like is disable breaking particles. This just like if you're breaking a block, it doesn't show all the little cubes going onto the floor. Looks way cleaner if you have it disabled. Performance, this is kind of important. Entity culling you want to have enabled. And then all these other subsequent options that have to do with culling, you want to have enabled as well. These you don't want to have enabled, most of them at least. Here you can disable enchantment glint if you want, but I have this, like, I have a feather setting for this, so I don't use it here. Yeah, well, you can just copy these. I don't think this matters. I think this is just more just personal preference, but I'll just go through it real quick. Obviously, screenshot doesn't matter, but for the sake of the video. And then my feather settings, I don't really use that many feather mods, but these are the ones I mainly use. Animations, I mean, I just have old animations. Who doesn't use those? Auto text, I have a macro for slash scaling and go and surface. I don't know if it's allowed or whatever, but I mean, you can just use no feather. It used to be blacklisted, but then they re-enabled it, so that's why I use it. CPS, I like my CPS mod up here in the little bit of right, top right. Used to have, that was like a default on PvP Lounge, and I just kept it there. Crosshair, I use this sometimes. I don't know, you can just do whatever you want. I have like a couple of different presets, but that's whatever. Custom chat. doesn't really matter all that much. Glint you can turn on and off. Hypixel, whatever. Particles, this is just like if you enable this, I get the sharpness particles on hit, so I use that sometimes. Reach display, time changer, toggle sprint. General settings, nothing. You should probably enable these two because this has like some weird ass feather loading screen or something. If you go to the main menu or you press escape, I can't remember. That'll look ass, so just disable that. Chat options, whatever. Performance, I think this matters. Probably matters because it's performance, whatever. Fast rendering on, direct memory access on. This to cache, this improved my FPS, I think, by a bit. Going to cached. Static particle caller, I already have this enabled in Patcher, but I still have it enabled here. Lazy chunk loading, I have off, and I think I had that enabled in Patcher or in Optifine. I don't really know. I don't think this matters that much. And this is the calling thing again. If you click on this, it doesn't show name tags behind walls, so you definitely want to disable this and enable that. Cloaks doesn't matter. Usually I have this off, but I turned it on to test it. And then this doesn't matter. You should probably change the toggle overlay if you're gonna use feather, because I think the default is like shift tab, and if you're sitting in a hole and you're trying to check the tab list, you could send it to the feather menu, which isn't all that nice. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the settings. Alright, for the second part of the video, I'm going to be putting most of the packs I use in this video. There's more packs in my folder, but I'm just going to showcase my most used ones. Download link is going to be in the description.
call on me for anything. Like you said, a human being, I'm going to make you take that chance. Things have been different for me ever since I met Hildy. I've never met anyone quite like her before.